came at a time where I was getting ready to record this great song by Tom Waits for my next album. It's called Soldier Stings, and lyrically, kind of metaphorically, it's a story about a soldier coming back and reintegrating into civilian life. So I wanted to learn more about it so I can put all of that into the performance. And so through a mutual friend at the college that both of us went to in Cleveland, they said, you got to reach out to Jaymes. And so I reached out to Jaymes, and we had some great in-depth conversations about what the project was and about his view on things, and I got to read some of his writings, and I became just really fascinated with not only the stories and the level of detail that he puts into his writings and his and getting into his thought process, but just the way he writes, and the way he delivers stories.
The hardest part of leaving for war is physically turning around. So I just keep backing up. Maybe it's because I can't look away from my dad's eyes. I haven't seen him cry since I was 6. Since then, we've relied on each other. As I watch my family console one another, I'm sad to see him cry again. And then I leave.
No, initially when Dominick reached out through a mutual friend talking about the music video, I was hesitant because of the general narrative of veterans that, what you see in the media. You have your damaged veterans, you have your liability veterans, and then you have your heroes. And if you don't fit into one of those groups, you generally don't see them represented. But 95% of veterans don't fall into one of those categories. So as Dominick and I started talking about that, Dominick was like, well, let's tell that story. Let's focus on this idea that if there's growth in adversity, and we're saying that veterans are facing all this adversity, why aren't we talking about the growth that veterans are experiencing?
There's also something called post-traumatic growth, where you come out of a situation like that and you actually feel kinder toward your fellow man, fellow woman, that you are actually a better husband, father. You actually have a closer relationship with your God. You do not have to go around apologizing if there's some rage in you, although if we tell our veterans enough that this is what's wrong with them, they may actually start believing it.
So when I came home, there was a hard time there. You kind of, all these interactions you have, individuals knew kind of what I'd been through. So I spent 3 years in Afghanistan. I've been in well over 100 firefights. And that's pretty much all that people knew. So as I would interact with them, you could kind of feel that they were looking for those stories. There's like a curiosity. It seems like civilians kind of have this itch that they need to scratch. And they know, like, okay, I'm not supposed to ask, have you killed somebody? I'm not supposed to ask these types of questions. But how can I kind of like get to some of those stories in an appropriate way? And it becomes this weird, like, kind of choreographed conversation you have on a regular basis. And as a vet, you don't want to share too much of that, because then you run the risk of becoming the sum of those stories. And obviously there's
left, right, left, right, left.
Yeah, I think we've talked every day about this for the past year. I'm sure, just working back every single word, the shape of the storyline, every single musical phrase. I mean, it's in every sense of the word, a real true collaboration.
And music tends to draw on emotion in a certain way where it really helps me figure out, okay, how do I feel about this? I can write something and I think I understand how I feel about it, and then I hear the music behind it. And I'm like, this music doesn't feel right, or this music feels perfect. Why is that? What is this music tapping into that I didn't even understand when I wrote this, and how can I further refine that? So that's...